Okay, it's time for the next video in my top 10 bestest songs of 2000 to 2019 series. I've already discussed what the top 10 bestest songs are from 2000 to 2007. Now it's 2008's turn. By this point, I was actually paying attention to contemporary mainstream music. I already mentioned in the last video in this series about how 2007 was the year I got into contemporary mainstream music via Club Penguin music videos. And at this point, I was listening to a lot of then modern pop songs through various places, such as those Club Penguin music videos, or the radio, or through Party Time Karaoke's albums, or via my sister, who was also listening to quite a bit of contemporary music from this time. Heck, a few of the songs I've already talked about in this series were songs that she played off her albums, or illegally downloaded off of LimeWire, and I'll get to a few more examples of such in this video. I definitely remember living through this time and hearing many of these songs as a kid, since 2008 was the year I turned 9. And although many adults were panicking in 2008 due to the housing bubble bursting and the Great Recession, carefree 9-year-old Simeon was simply enjoying the music that was popular during this time, in between his time playing Club Penguin and going to school. And let's talk about said music. A few reminders as always. The songs eligible for this list are those that debuted on the 2008 year-end Hot 100 list. Therefore, any songs not on that list, plus these 10 songs that already made the 2007 list, will not be here. Go watch my previous Best of Songs videos, particularly those in this top 10 Best of Songs of 2019 series, to avoid any spoilers, as I will be referencing songs I already talked about there. I'm not going to do a worst hit songs of 2008 video, but for those curious as to what songs will be on that list, here you go. Last but not least, this list is just my opinion. Please don't leave a nasty comment because your favorite hit song of 2008 isn't on here, or your least favorite hit song of 2008 is. Let me know in the comments what your favorite hit songs of 2008 are. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get right into the list.
This is the time of my life.
What better way to kick off this list than by talking about the winner of American Idol's 7th season? One thing I've noticed as I get further into the 2000s with this series is how many American Idol contestants I've talked about. I've already talked about Clay Aiken, Chris Daughtry, and Elliot Yamin. And as for American Idol winners, I've talked about Carrie Underwood and 4 songs by Kelly Clarkson so far. Well, here's a song by the winner of 2008's season, David Cook. Obviously being the winner of American Idol, David Cook is a really good singer. I would have preferred him to belt more here like Chris Daughtry, but he still has a pleasant voice, which fits a pop rock inspirational song like this one. I will admit that instrumentally, the song doesn't stand out too much. It actually sort of reminds me of Because of You by Kelly Clarkson, which is another pop rock song by an American Idol winner in the key of F minor. I can just as easily see any other pop rock singer from around this time singing a song that sounds just like this one, but it still sounds nice. The piano in the background and faint twinkling sounds at the end of the chorus do give it a softer edge, despite the guitars and drums. And the key change on the bridge, before reverting back to the original key, does give it sort of an inspirational or heroic sort of feeling to it. As for the lyrics, I like how despite being a love song, it doesn't have too many love song cliches. Given that it's a song where Cook sings that this is the time of his life, it's pretty easy to guess what the song is about, but the song never actually references the partner he's in love with. He says he gave into love on the first verse, but you'll never hear him say that his partner is pretty or anything. It's more about the emotions he feels due to being in love, coming alive, seeing the world turn, tasting every moment, and living out loud. He was waiting for his dreams to come true and searching for that magic rainbow on the horizon. He was holding on to things that had vanished, but now he's rising from the ashes, finding his wings, and realizing that all he needed was there all along. It's time to be more than a man or a face in the crowd. Honestly, you could interpret the song as simply enjoying life and having a carpe diem message to it. Overall, this song isn't anything spectacular or super original, but still pretty good. But due to the fact that other hit songs in 2008 stood out to me more, I can only place it at number 10. Also, this won't be my last time talking about an American Idol contestant in this video, so stay tuned. Well, here's a real bop. I mentioned in the last video that there were a lot of pop songs I discovered through watching Club Penguin music videos in 2007 to 2008. Well, this is another one. It's also easily the best song I've heard from Mary J. Blige as a lead artist. Heck, this might be even better than Runaway Love with Ludacris, which I talked about in the 2007 video. Unlike that song, Just Fine is a song that leans more into the dancey side of R&B, thanks to its upbeat melody and percussive sounds that sound like hand claps or finger snaps. I'm not sure what those are exactly. The way the song sounds just makes me feel like getting up and grooving to it. Heck, I actually saw a video on Instagram not long ago of a guy dancing to this very song. I'm actually going to put a link to it in the description. The guy's an incredibly slick and talented dancer. And it makes sense that this song would sound so upbeat and happy, given how it's a song about feeling good, making the best out of life, filtering out any negative or stressful feelings, not letting anyone kill your vibe, and feeling just fine. Everyone has one of those euphoric days where you just feel really good, everything's going right, and nothing can bring you down. And Just Fine captures that feeling tremendously. You could argue the song is a bit boastful and arrogant at times, especially with the line in the pre-chorus of liking what you see when you look past a mirror, but it's not overly narcissistic. Plus, when you're just having a really good day, I think feeling a bit proud of yourself is earned. It's just a song that instantly puts me in a good mood whenever I hear it, and feels specifically designed to do just that. And Mary J. Blige fits the song perfectly. Her soulful voice fits the song better than, say, Brandy, whose voice would have been too soft to fit this tune. Mary J. Blige's deeper yet still feminine voice fits like a glove here. The smooth groove and Blige's voice give the song sort of a Motown soul/funk feeling to it, and it's pulled off tremendously here. If the song does have one Achilles heel, I will say the chorus is a bit too repetitive, with Mary J. Blige repeating the word fine over and over, but it's not repeated to the point of annoyance. And again, for a song that's just meant to make you feel good, the melody and vibe are more important than the lyrics on the chorus. I'm happy to say this is a song that's definitely held up from when I first heard it as a kid, and one that I definitely still go back to today. This song is not just fine, it's great.
I remember when my heart broke. I remember when I gave up loving you.
And here's another really good female R&B song that was a hit in 2008. And it's a song that I don't hear anyone talking about nowadays, from an artist who's pretty much been forgotten and fizzled out when the 2000s ended. Heck, I never even heard the song myself before I listened to the 2008 year-end list. This was one of two songs by R&B singer Keyshia Cole that were minor hits in 2008, the other being Heaven Sent. However, of the two songs, I remember as easily the much better one, and I'm glad it was the higher one, both in the Hot 100 and 2008 year-end list. I don't know if this song is going to make many other people's best songs of 2008 lists, but for me, yeah, this just had to be here. This is yet another song that falls into the category of silky, smooth, sultry, pleasant female R&B slow jams. The song's composition, with the pleasant string plucks, the light piano, the glossy synthesizer, and twinkling sounds, just sounds so heavenly. Kind of ironic this isn't the song called Heaven Sent. And Keyshia Cole's vocals sound great too. You could argue she doesn't stand out too much from other female R&B singers, but you can't deny that she's a beautiful singer, and she kills it with her performance. And as for the lyrics, it's a nostalgic post-breakup song about remembering when you walked out on your ex-partner. Even though your heart broke, you still love them deep down. There were great times you shared with them. Unfortunately, they were just never there when you needed them. That's what ultimately caused you to storm out and declare that you hated them. Even though there wasn't anywhere else to go and nobody else to turn to, you just had to walk away. But you still had that lingering feeling of loving them, even though the relationship ultimately failed. You can really feel the passion in this song, both in terms of lyrical content and in terms of Keyshia Cole's vocal performance. Maybe it would have been nice if she had also mentioned how she remembered not just about the breakup, but the love she felt when she was still with them. The song's lyrics don't really go into detail about that. And I'm also not sure how I feel about the song's key change. I think the original F minor fits a tender, passionate feeling better than the G minor that it changes to. But the rest of the song absolutely makes up for it. It's easily the best R&B song to be a hit in 2008, and definitely the most underrated song I'm talking about on this list. It's certainly a song that I'll remember.
Our song is a slam and scream door, sneaking alley, tapping on your window.
This is yet another song I grew up listening to. I mentioned this in the last video when I talked about Taylor Swift's first hit, Teardrops on My Guitar, but my family owned Taylor Swift's self-titled album on CD, and I'm very familiar with the first two albums, having heard them plenty times as a kid. And while our song isn't nearly as great as Teardrops on My Guitar, it's still a very good country song. I really like the upbeat country sound with the banjo, violin, and catchy melody. It's definitely one that you can sing along to, which is fitting for a song about you and your partner's song. In the first verse, Swift describes riding in the car with her boyfriend. She nervously turns the radio down, and her boyfriend asks what's the matter, and she says that the two of them don't have a song. On the chorus, the boyfriend then describes sneaking out late, tapping on Swift's window, talking on the phone, laughing, regretting not kissing her on their first date, and asking if God can let him relive that date. All of that is their song. Then the second verse, Swift describes coming home after a rough day, and being surprised to see some roses in the bedroom, and a note, again, describing their song. And on the bridge, Swift says that she's listening to various music trying to find something as good as her and her boyfriend's song. Their love is just so strong that nothing she hears on the radio is as great. It's a really sweet sentiment, and the final time the chorus is sung is from Swift's perspective. And to bookend this song, at the very end, Swift once again describes riding in her boyfriend's car, then grabbing a pen and a napkin to write down their song. The song could be seen as autobiographical from Swift's perspective, given that she was pretty young when she started her music career, and she would go on to have a reputation as someone who wrote songs about her various relationships, particularly her exes. It feels sort of meta, given this is a song about Swift and her partner's song. This song could be the one described in its own lyrics. Taylor Swift plays the role of the teenage girl in love with her boyfriend and wanted to write a song about the two of them very well. It just fits the girl next door persona that she exemplified in her early music career stupendously. I could definitely see why my sister, who was in her adolescent years when this song was popular, loved it so much. And hey, even if you're not here for Taylor Swift's persona or lyrics, the catchiness is just too great to ignore. It's definitely my song.
We only got 4 minutes to say the word. Hesitating.
Although most artists I've talked about in this series started their careers in the 90s or 2000s, since this is a series of the top 10 best songs of 2019 after all, there have been a few times where I've talked about a song by an artist who was popular in the 80s, who managed to have a song be huge in the 2000s, over 2 decades into their career. Well, here's another example of such, Madonna. If you know anything about Madonna, you know that she's constantly reinvented herself over the years and continued to keep making comeback song after comeback song. This is actually her fourth song to be a hit in the 2000s, and what would ultimately be her final year-end hit. Not final song, but final time having a song popular enough to be among the 100 biggest songs of the year in America. And honestly, of her 4 2000s hits, I'm glad this one ended up being her final hit ever. Unlike those other 3 songs, 4 Minutes with Justin Timberlake and Timbaland is good enough to be among the top 10 best songs of the 100 biggest of the year for me. While a more cynical person could rant about how Madonna by this point was just a has-been trying to stay relevant despite being past her prime, and some of her material in the 2010s definitely felt indicative of that, 4 Minutes is honestly catchy and fun enough for me to not really care. Timbaland's production is super upbeat with the horns, synths, and cowbell percussion. It gives the song sort of a marching band feeling. Nowhere near as prominent as My Chemical Romance's Welcome to the Black Parade, but still enough to make one want to get up and march. Also, Madonna singing TikTok on the post-chorus and the ticking clock sound on the outro also fit with the song's title and lyrics in the chorus by having only 4 minutes to save the world. Not coincidentally, the album version of the song is almost exactly 4 minutes long. Would have been nice if it had been exactly 4 minutes, sort of like how AJR's 330 was exactly 3 minutes and 30 seconds long, but whatever. Both Timbaland and Timberlake's ad-libs give the song a bit of a hip-hop feeling to it, as if Timbaland's production didn't already do that. Despite the fact that Madonna and Justin Timberlake are about 20 years apart in terms of age, the lyrics about dancing with your partner never come across as creepy, and the two of them actually play off each other really well as they go back and forth singing the stanzas on the verses. You can call this song selling out or whatever, but I can't help but love it. Give it a listen. Time is waiting. I just talked about a song by an artist who was popular in the 80s. Well, here's a song by an artist who was popular back in the 70s. And for the 4th time on one of my best hit songs lists, we got another song by Latin rock band Santana. This song came at the tail end of Santana's massive comeback that began in 1999, thanks to numerous collaborations with then contemporary artists. This song was featured on Santana's 2007 compilation album Ultimate Santana, which sort of makes the song feel like a swan song. And while it wasn't Santana's last ever song, it was her last song to ever chart on the Hot 100 or make a year-end Hot 100 list. By this point, the momentum from Santana's comeback was fizzling out. None of the singles from their previous studio album, All That I Am, were popular enough to be year-end hits, and this song was pretty close to missing the 2008 year-end list, only just scraping by number 98, as well as number 26 on the Hot 100, although it was a lot bigger in mine, Chad Kroeger's home country of Canada, peaking number 2 here. But I'm pretty glad this song managed to just make it on the Hot 100 list, because it's freaking awesome! While maybe not quite as good as any of the previous Santana hits I've already talked about, especially Smooth, Into the Night is still a really great song, thanks to Carlos Santana killing it as always, with his incredibly enticing guitar, Chad Kroeger's vocals, and the lyrical content. It reminds me a bit of Ricky Martin's Livin' La Vida Loca, and that's another upbeat Latin-influenced song about being with and dancing with a dangerous girl. She's got fire in her eyes, and she pulled the devil out of you. It's like a gift from the heavens, and you sang and danced with her into the night as everyone in the room kept time with their hands. You were so in love and enamored by her devilish nature and good looks that you forgot where you were and you lost track of time. For an enticing Latin rock song about dancing away with a dangerous girl, it pulls off its sound tremendously. It certainly makes me want to get up and dance with a pretty girl. Carlos Santana's effortless guitar playing and the Latin drums, fitting with the line of the first verse about there being drums in the air, sound fantastic, as does Chad Kroeger. While I didn't really like his version of Why Don't You and I, he sounds miles better on this Santana track. He sounds more enthused here, and his gruff voice just fits here perfectly. It makes sense to have a rock star who could pull off that naughty rock star persona sing on a song with these lyrics. When I hear this song, I want to dance into the night.
And it feels like tonight.
I told you I'd be talking about another American Idol contestant in this video, and this is one I've already talked about, Chris Daughtry, frontman of the band that shares his last name. Given that I've already talked about both of the band's previous hits in the last video, I think it's pretty obvious I was going to talk about their 3rd single too. And like their 2 previous singles, Feels Like Tonight is yet another rocking tune thanks to a great melody, impactful lyrics, and Chris Daughtry's belting voice. I'd say that this song is closer in sound to Home than It's Not Over, given that it's a bit more on the side of pop rock than post-grunge, and it's even in the same key. In terms of lyrics though, I actually think it's closer to It's Not Over, given that this is a song about a relationship gone sour and want to make it up to your partner. It's definitely similar enough to sound like it's from the same band, and I could see some people finding it to be too samey or unoriginal for them, but I don't mind it too much. I mean, when the guitar line sounds as distinctive as it does, and you have such a talented vocalist like Chris Daughtry singing, how can you hate it? His belting on the chorus makes him sound like he's pleading, which really does fit the lyrics. Given that it's a song about how you failed your partner, you feel broken inside, and want to make things up to them, Chris is definitely trying to sound sincere, as he realizes how badly he messed up, and is hoping his partner will accept his apology and let him show his remorse with actions rather than words. Even when he leaves, he ends up coming back for more. His partner is the only thing that remains constant, despite everything else changing. He just can't move on from them. His love for them deep down is too strong. He could stay like this forever. You could argue it's unhealthy for him, and he should leave for good given it's implied this is a repeated cycle, especially considering that he admits on the first verse that he lied to them, but I don't think you're supposed to look that deep into it. Again, the upbeat pop rock tune just sounds great, as does the harmonization. Yeah, Chris Daughtry always sounds fantastic when there's harmonization behind him. Like Into the Night, I'm really glad this Rocking 2 managed to make it toward the bottom of the year-end list. It's not my favorite Daughtry song or even my favorite Daughtry hit, but it's still a very good addition to their discography and to the 2008 year-end Hot 100 list. I hope everything I said about it made you feel like listening to it.
You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
I think some of you knew I was going to talk about this one too. As someone who got exposed to Taylor Swift's first 2 albums plenty of times during my childhood, I'm definitely nostalgic for a lot of the songs from those albums. I've already talked about her first 2 hits in this series, and this is her third, which is coincidentally also the 3rd best hit song of 2008. As much as I love Swift's other 2008 hit that I've already talked about, there are a couple things that make Love Story even better. Firstly, that title is very fitting, because this song does try to tell an actual love story. While you could argue that our song also had a story to it, it's even more clear in Love Story. It tells the story of 2 young people who, similar to Romeo and Juliet, end up meeting in a ball and fall in love with each other, but their parents forbid the relationship. So the girl sneaks out to see the boy and suggests that they should run away together. All the literary references in the writing make the song feel very poetic. Taylor Swift really knows how to write a sincere love story in her lyrics, and she's honestly the perfect artist to sing this kind of song. And the writing is only matched by the country production with the banjos, fiddle, and electric guitar. Just like with Teardrops on My Guitar, it has a good amount of pop crossover appeal to it, while still being a country song overall. The acoustic instruments and the slight twang in Swift's voice make it appeal to country fans, yet still safe enough for pop radio to play as well. And unlike Teardrops on My Guitar, or Shania Twain's That Don't Impress Me Much, she didn't need to make a separate version of the song exclusively for pop radio. And this crossover appeal is no doubt why this song ended up being Taylor Swift's first ever top 10 song, peaking number 4 on the Hot 100. No wonder she would end up going full-on pop down the line. But I really do like the country elements here, and I'm not sure the song would have been as good if it was a full-on pop song. Also, even though the song's story is based off of Romeo and Juliet, one major difference between this song and the classic Shakespeare play is that this story actually has a happy ending, with the boy proposing to the girl. That's a really beautiful ending to the story, and the key change really makes it feel more emotional. It's not quite enough to make me cry, but still pulls off the romantic imagery really well. All in all, it's a really well put together song, though I'm not even sure it's the best song off of Fearless. That whole album is fantastic, and this is a fantastic song. Baby, just say yes. Here's another song I have a feeling some of you were anticipating would be here. After all, I've talked about both of Coldplay's previous 2 hits in this series, so of course I was going to talk about their third. Not only that, but I know Viva La Vida is a few people's choice for the number 1 best hit song of 2008. And well, it's not quite number 1 on mine, but I do still think it's a very good song. I wouldn't be choosing it as the penultimate best hit song of 2008 if I didn't think it was pretty great. It's probably the most artsy song to ever be a year-end hit. What I mean by that is that the song is definitely trying to give off this very Baroque feeling to it, in both its instrumentation and lyrics. I can definitely imagine some Baroque or classical music composer from the 1700s creating a sound just like this one with the strings and ringing bells in the chorus, fitting with the lyrics in the chorus by hearing Jerusalem bells ringing. To further that classical feeling, the song's lyrics invoke various monarchical and Christian references. The first verse talks about ruling the world and feeling the fear in your enemy's eyes, and people chanting, "Now the old king is dead, long live the king." And the second verse mentions your head in a silver plate, possibly reference to the execution of King Louis XIV via guillotine. And on the chorus, aside from the aforementioned Jerusalem bells ringing, Jerusalem is a holy city to the 3 major Abrahamic religions. It also mentions Roman cavalry choirs and missionaries in a foreign field. It almost seems to be referencing the Crusades. And the bridge mentions how St. Peter won't call your name. Like Coldplay's 2 previous songs, the lyrics are very poetic, and there have been numerous interpretations of them, whether it's told from the perspective of King Louis XIV, or simply telling its own story of a king being deposed in a similar way due to people rising up in revolution against his tyranny. The orchestral sound of the song makes it feel inspiring, as if it's helping the common people to rise up from oppression and stand up against tyrannical rulers. After all, we're like an orchestra together. There's far more of us than him. Heck, even the album cover of Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends, taken from a French painting of liberty leading the people, depicting the July Revolution that happened in France in 1830, not only adds to that artsy feeling I mentioned earlier, but also fits with the song's imagery. Coldplay incorporating all of these elements together here was certainly no coincidence. Overall, it's just an incredibly awe-inspiring song, and one of Coldplay's best songs, although it's not quite the number 1 best song of 2008. But before I tell you what that is, let's talk about a few honorable mentions first. Here's yet another American Idol contestant, and one I haven't talked about in this series yet. David Cook was the winner of 2008 season. Well, here's the runner-up, David Archuleta. This is yet another song in the category of, I wanted to put this song on the list, but it was just beat out and is my number 11. It's a pretty good pop rock song about realizing that your crush may reciprocate your feelings and trying to hold back, but asking them if they love you in turn. This crush you feel isn't going away, and it feels like the two of you are more than just friends. You can turn this into something that will last forever. And David Archuleta's pretty good voice and memorable melody really make it a song you can have a crush on.
'Cause it's not my time. I'm not gold. There's a fear in me. It's not showing.
Well, it's certainly bad timing I'm talking about this song now. And no, Brad Arnold, lead singer of Three Doors Down, passing away just last month, isn't why I'm talking about this song here. I genuinely think this is Three Doors Down's second best hit after 2003's Here Without You. The upbeat mainstream rock sound and melody sound really good, and the lyrics about asking your partner to save you from going under, telling them that there's a fear in you that you're not showing, but you're not giving in because you're staying resilient and have plans for the future, give the song an anti-suicide message. It's not your time yet. Shame that Brad Arnold's time did come sooner than we thought, at only 47 years old. Rest in peace.
And the shadow of the day will embrace the world in gray.
I think you knew this was gonna be here. It's my 6th time talking about Linkin Park in this series, and I've already talked about all 4 of their previous hits. Admittedly, Shadow of the Day is the weakest out of all of Linkin Park's hits, hence why I couldn't put it on the list proper. But the synthesized guitars, Linkin Park's characteristic catchy melody, and lyrics about saying goodbye to someone you love, who's implied to be on their deathbed, sound very heartfelt. The sun's setting for them, the shadow of the day is coming, and night, which represents their death, will be here soon. The choice to give the song a softer electronic rock sound, as opposed to Linkin Park's typical nu metal sound, fit with the sad lyrics. Good song.
You cut me open and I keep bleeding, keep bleeding love.
I'm sure if I had made this list back in 2008 when I was 9 years old, this would have made the top 10. Both Bleeding Love and Leona Lewis's other hit, Better in Time, are both pretty good songs that I'm nostalgic for from this British R&B singer. Her soulful vocals sound beautiful, and the organ and snare drums heard here sound really good too. And the lyrics about loving someone, everyone around you thinking you're crazy, but not paying them any mind, and continuing to love them sound really heartfelt. And the references to being hurt, that your heart's crippled, you've been cut open and are bleeding love, and are wearing scars, make the loving embrace feel even more healing. I'm bleeding love for this song.
Still a part of everything I do. You're on my heart just like a tattoo.
And here's yet another American Idol contestant, and the winner of 2007 season, Jordan Sparks. All 3 of her 2008 hits were pretty good, but I think Tattoo is the best out of all of them. It's a decent R&B song with its catchy melody and guitar line, and of course, Jordan Sparks is a really great singer. She didn't win American Idol for nothing, and she works really well in a breakup song about telling her partner that they offered the protection that she needed, but it's time to move on. But still, she doesn't regret being with them. She still savors the memories with them, and they're still a part of her, like a tattoo. It's a good song, but there was better R&B to be popular in 2008. As I've already talked about. And that's 5 honorable mentions. Now let's talk about 5 ineligible honorable mentions. Songs that didn't make the year and Hot 100 list for 2008, but are still good songs that came out or were popular in 2008 that are worth a mention. I'll be honest, 2008 was a bit challenging to come up with 5 ineligible honorable mentions for. I honestly couldn't think of very many great songs that came out in or were popular in 2008 that never made the 2008 year-end list. Plus, I also didn't want to talk about any songs I already talked about in a previous video for this section, so that excludes any of Headley's hits in 2008, all of which would have been good enough to make the top 10 if they had crossed over into America. This was basically the exact opposite situation I had with the year 2000, where I actually had way too many songs to pick from and had to narrow down to 5. For 2008, I had to think hard to come up with 5 ineligible honorable mentions. With 1 or 2 exceptions, all my ineligible honorable mentions for all the previous years in this series were songs that, had they made the year-end list, would have made my top 10 best songs of the year. But for 2008, 4 of the 5 songs I came up with as ineligible honorable mentions all would have only made the top 20. But let's take a look at what my 5 choices were.
I may not make it through the night. I won't go home without you.
Like I said, I couldn't think of very many really good songs that came out in or were popular in 2008 that didn't make the 2008 year-end Hot 100 list, and that I also hadn't already talked about in a previous video. Won't Go Home Without You is a good song, but again, it would have only made the top 20 best songs of 2008 had it made the year-end list, not top 10. Still though, it's a decent pop rock song that reminds me quite a bit of 2004's She Will Be Loved in its instrumentation and key. And the lyrics, while nothing special, are fine, about asking your girlfriend or wife whom you've wronged to give you one more chance to make things up to her, but she's not listening. But I do like listening to this song.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do to love you.
And here's this year's ineligible honorable mention that was popular in Canada but nowhere else. Again, I didn't want to talk about any of Headley's singles that were big in 2008 again, so it was either going to be this song or Carisha Turner's Don't Call Me Baby. I ended up choosing Elisa Estrada's Unlove You due to Elisa Estrada's better vocals, the decent late 2000s R&B sound to it, and its lyrics about walking away from a bad relationship. Your partner was unfaithful and hurt you, so even though your heart is telling you to stay, your better judgment is telling you to walk away. Not quite as good as Insatiable or Crash and Burn, which I talked about in the Canadian songs video, but it's still a good song that I don't want to unlove.
I don't wanna ever love another. You'll always be my thunder.
This is the only ineligible honorable mention for 2008 that would have made my top 10 best list if it had made the year-end list. I also considered having Hero Heroine be an ineligible honorable mention too, but I decided that Thunder was a better song. I definitely like it more than Boys Like Girls' 2007 hit The Great Escape. It's a mid-tempo pop rock love song about how your partner brains up your life. You don't know how to explain your feelings, and you feel paralyzed from emotion, but your partner is your thunder, so bring on the rain. It definitely feels like a high school love song, which is fitting given the song was apparently written by lead singer Martin Johnson's high school sweetheart. This song is my thunder.
Look me in the eyes and tell me that you love me.
And speaking of mid-tempo pop rock love songs, here's another good one. When You Look Me in the Eyes is a really sweet song about how when your partner, whom you're currently away from, looks you in the eyes, you catch a glimpse of heaven. Dreams can't take the place of loving them, and you anticipate reuniting with them. You can't take a day without them, and you realize you can accomplish more and be happier when they're by your side. And the pleasant melody and power ballad-esque sound really helps sell the emotion. It's a song that's sure to swoon all the teenage girls in 2008 who were fans of the Jonas Brothers. And even though I'm not a teenage girl, I love the song too. Go give it a listen.
All I ever wanted was to see you smile, and all I ever wanted was to make you mine.
And here's 2008's song in the "This EDM song was huge in Europe but not in America" category. And while not nearly as good as either of the two previous ineligible honorable mentions I've talked about in that category, All I Ever Wanted by Bass Hunter is still a decent enough EDM track. I'll admit, for a song about only ever wanted to make someone you loved happy with you and now feeling lonely, it does feel a bit too upbeat and probably would have worked better as a ballad instead of an EDM/Eurodance track. But the melody is still pretty sticky, the drum beat is one to make me bob my head, and the vocoded vocals make the singer feel more distant, fitting with the lyrics. Again, slim pickings for 2008. Alright, now that we got the honorable and ineligible honorable mentions out of the way, let's talk about the song that I decided was the #1 best hit song of 2008.
Say what you need to say. Say what you need to say.
That's right, it's John Mayer again. This is my 4th time talking about one of his hits in the series, and his 2nd time topping one of my best hit songs lists. And while not quite as fantastic as Waiting on the World to Change, Say is still a very good song, and the song most deserving of topping this list. Like his previous hits, Say is a very gentle song instrumentally. That guitar that starts off the song has this very sweet, almost Disney Star-esque sound to it. It sort of gives me the impression of someone playing the guitar in their room, sort of like an indie or bedroom pop track. Then the strings come in on the chorus, and you can tell the song is going to build to a crescendo. The strings loud just before the second verse comes in, when the drums and bass guitar come in. Then right after the chorus, all the instruments disappear except for the original guitar. Then the strings are heard again in the 3rd verse. And toward the end of that 3rd verse, the drums come back. Finally, the full instrumentation is heard in the final 3 choruses, which is the loudest the song ever sounds, at least until the fade-out ending comes during that final chorus. It's definitely not quite as complex or catchy as Waiting on the World to Change, or even as wispy and comforting as Your Body is a Wonderland, but I do still really like it. I prefer it over both Your Body is a Wonderland and Daughters. It almost feels like it's the kind of song that's meant to make you cry, which may have been intentional, given the movie the song was written for. I haven't seen the bucket list myself, but given what the premise of the movie is, I feel like it's fitting. And that's even more evident given the lyrics. It would have been pretty easy to go the cliche love song route with this song, but it actually goes in a different direction, one that still fits the instrumentation but avoids any sappiness or saccharine you get from an acoustic love song. Not that I have any issue with saccharine acoustic ballads. I mean, like I said, I do like Your Body is a Wonderland, but I'm glad the song decides to go for a more meaningful message. It's a song about, as the chorus says, saying what you need to say. Whether that's your problems or past frustrations, you should put them in quotations. Let others know how you're feeling. Don't be afraid of giving in. Even if your hands are shaking and your heart is broken, it's better to say too much than to never say what you need to say. It's a pretty simple message, but it's one that I do believe is important. Whether you're communicating with a friend or partner of yours, or maybe with a therapist, sometimes talking about what's on your mind and the problems you're facing is therapeutic. You'll never fix your problems if you keep all your negative thoughts in your head. Letting others know how you feel can bring some of the weight off your shoulders and help you to move on from living out the same old moment, as mentioned on the 2nd verse. I can definitely see this song inspiring someone to speak their minds and communicate whatever it is that's bothering them, whether that's mental illness, or family issues, or being bullied, or something you want to say to someone before you pass on. I assume something like the latter happens in the bucket list. Now, I will admit that Say isn't an absolutely fantastic song. Of all my choices for the #1 best hit song of the year in all the videos in this series so far, Say is definitely the weakest out of all of them. In another year, this likely would have been beat up by 1 or 2 other songs on its year-end list. The biggest nitpick I do have with the song is how, like Just Fine, the chorus is very repetitive. It's literally just a line, "Say what you need to say," repeated 8 times. And that repetition becomes even more evident at the end of the song when the chorus is repeated 3 times, meaning that he repeats that title lyric 24 times in a row. I do wish maybe Mayer had written something else for that chorus, maybe changing the title lyric slightly on 1 or 2 of those repetitions. Obviously, this doesn't ruin the whole song or make it super annoying to me, but it does hold the song back a bit for me and makes it feel a little on the weaker side compared to my other #1 best of songs of the year that I talked about before. Even despite that though, everything else about the song is still really good. You could argue that Viva La Vida Vida is a better song from an artistic standpoint, and therefore more deserving of being number one, but the lovely acoustic sound and great message of Say is what gave this song the edge. Despite its flaws, it's a song on the 2008 year-end list I can say that I like the best. It could have been better, and I've definitely heard better, but still very good all the same. Like Mayer's 4 previous hits I've already discussed, this song would end up winning John Mayer a Grammy for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance, which was definitely well deserved, and this would also end up being Mayer's final year-end hit. Again, it's not Mayer's best, or the song of his I would have liked to be his final appearance on a year-end list, but I am glad that his last hit was still very good. You know what I say? This is the number one best hit song of 2008, and I also say that you should definitely give it a listen if you haven't. Great song. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. 1 year left of the 2000s to go, so stay tuned for the top 10 best songs of 2009 video. I'll see you all later.